My name is Luke Mar, this is Hot Mode, and today we are going to be discussing the Resort 2017 collections that came out. I'm just going to prepare you now. There are a lot of brands that I'm going to be discussing, so you're in for a long ride, just preparing you. And if you want to know what Resort actually is, because maybe you don't know, maybe you're new to the channel, I made a video right here, and I will put it here and in the description below, so that you can find out a little bit about Resort and how it works and what it means. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to be doing this in a semi-alphabetical order, but it's not totally alphabetical. So the first person I think we're going to talk about is Delpozo, which is done by Joseph Font. I really love Delpozo. I have my laptop here just so you guys know that's what I'm looking at. I'm getting a lot of my information from Vogue Runway. I'm not reading the reviews, but I am looking at their pictures. So, I mean, I just really like Delpozo. I think it's fun. I think it's a nice brand. I think they use colors really well. I think this Resort collection really shows the ability to use colors and prints in a way that, A, is fun to look at, but also I think somebody would enjoy wearing. Also, I think the silhouettes and the real architecture of the clothing, which I think was a main point of this Resort collection, was architecture, and I think that really shows through. I really love this collection. I think the bright colors, like the bright yellows, blues, and greens, really pop, make it something different than what we saw a lot of from the rest of the Resort collections. And I just have to give Joseph a lot of credit because I think he is still doing his own thing, and you'll see eventually as time goes on throughout this video, you'll see that a lot of people have stopped doing their own thing and are trying to get on to different trends, and it's like good for Joseph because he does not care. Next is DKNY, which is now done by Maxwell Osborne and Dao Yi Chow. This, I think, is their first DKNY collection that they've done for the brand since they've been appointed as creative directors. I mean, do I think this is like on the cutting edge of fashion? No. Do I think that it is amazing, spectacular? No. But I have to say, as much as I think I give them a lot of heat, I don't think that this collection was too terrible. I don't think DKNY is a brand that is, you know, meant to be Thierry Mugler, where it's meant to be like this awe-inspiring brand new thing that we've never seen before. No, I don't expect that from them. It's New York, it's a New York brand. It is meant to be classic, it's meant to be athleisure. I think that they did a good job within the constraints that they're given. They're, you know, and they have their online public school, which I'm not even going to discuss today because that was terrible. But I think that they did a really good job with DKNY. It is very athletic. It is very kind of cutting edge athletic. They're doing different silhouettes. They're not doing like annoying athleisure stupid stuff. Like they're kind of making their own cool shoes, their own cool bags. I think that's great. I think DKNY is kind of getting a new facelift, and I think it's getting like kind of a new hype about it. It might be the new hype brand, which, I mean, for DKNY and American brands like that, it's pretty good. So I'm happy for DKNY. On to the next one. We're going to be talking about Erdem, which is done by Erdem Mora Ali Oglu. I do apologize, I don't know his full name. Also getting hiccups. I think Erdem's collection was probably my favorite out of all of the Resort collections. I remember seeing it for the first time and I was like gobsmacked, like I couldn't even talk. I just think it was very like rich. I think rich is the word. When you talk about food and how food can be very rich, I think this collection was very rich. It was full of real substance. It was very heavy and really hit you hard, and you didn't need so much of it, but the little amount that you had of it, you really loved, and you really were full off of it. So I'm sorry, I'm using food analogies now. I just think that it was really beautiful. I love the prints. I love it also, again, this kind of architecture. I think Erdem played with some trends from, you know, what is happening now. I think the off-the-shoulder tops, definitely a big trend. High collars, and then the cutouts on sleeves in different places. But there was a real Victorian, very classic kind of play on those trends, and I think that is where, if you're going to do trends, you have to put your own spin on it, and I think Erdem did an amazing job on putting his own spin onto, you know, a modern trend that can get very old, and if you look at all the resort collections, it did get very old. It was, for most brands, it was looking at the same thing, and Erdem gobsmacked me, so I'm happy that he was not just one of the many. Next, we're going to be discussing Gucci. If you didn't watch Gucci, and if you don't know anything about this brand, I'm sorry, like, you're missing a lot. I think Alessandro Michele putting out 96 looks and doing it at the Cloisters in London was really amazing. I think Alessandro's, the way that he thinks and the way that he's given the ability to just do whatever he wants, in a sense, 96 looks, not edited. He obviously styles them, no matter, even if they say that there's a stylist, he obviously just puts things together, clashes colors, clashes prints. That's just his thing, and I think he also incorporated his Gucci, which is very boy androgyny, very woman empowerment, very old 70s, 80s things, and then kind of mixed it with some really, really wonderful English stereotypes, like those dogs, the glass dogs. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but it was big print on this runway. I think a lot of the little bows, little French bows here and there. I'm trying to think of what, there's just so much in this collection. It was so, again, rich. It was really, really rich. I just think the way that he makes these collections is really insane. I think it's great that it's unedited as well. I love that it's nobody's controlling what is happening with these collections. And so I just have to say, like, if you go through the 96 looks, you will be amazed at what Alessandro Michele does every single time. I must say though, I think the menswear was really poorly done, or it was just kind of boring. It didn't really match, for me, in my opinion, the new Gucci. It wasn't like colorful, it wasn't big, it wasn't powerful, it didn't hit you hardcore. It was just kind of like a really watered down kind of 80s aesthetic and kind of just thrown into this collection. And I just don't think that's gonna work for the brand. Next, we're gonna discuss Louis Vuitton, which did their show in Brazil and had a very Brazilian influence, if you could call it that. I'm sorry, I just don't think Nicolas Gasquier is working out at Louis Vuitton. I think if you looked at the Met Gala review, like the Met Gala stuff, it was off. I just think this stuff, as cool as it is, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand the clothing, like this ugly military green thrown in there, with all these really vibrant colors, and like the shoes. Like, he could do so much with this brand, and I think he really just is not, either given the chance to do it, or he's just not doing it. I'm just looking at it, and we kind of are seeing this again, like this pirate thing now mixed with like this digital technological era, and I just it doesn't make sense to me in reality. I just think it's kind of getting off-putting, and I think that he'll probably leave within the 3-year contract. That's just my opinion. I also heard that it's not really selling either, which also causes a problem. It just doesn't make sense. Next, we're going to talk about Marc Jacobs' resort. As fugly as it was, I will say that it was fucking ugly. I have no doubt about it. And I think that the 80 influence that we're kind of getting here definitely is very strong and powerful, and there's a lot going on, but I really like the silhouettes. I think that the long sweatshirts with the big skirts, like the A-line skirts, I think it worked. I think he's kind of continuing the fall-winter show, but making it a little bit different, continuing that kind of branding, but just giving it a new flair. Kind of like how Alessandro Michele builds on every single collection that he does. And so I have to say, I have to give props to Marc Jacobs, because I think it was actually a pretty good collection. Next is the Moschino resort, which was a combination of men's and women's. I didn't like it. I just thought it was too much. It was just a lot. The menswear mixed with the women's wear, it all just kind of like blurred together in my mind of like ugly, really bad prints. It looked like Forever 21 kind of. It looked like he was trying so hard. And I think a lot of his collections, like previously, are not that bad. I mean, personally for me, are not that bad. He is very creative in where he sources his things from. This I just think was not really creative. It was just a bunch of really bad prints, like very Scooby-Doo, but not, and I feel like you could do a lot with Scooby-Doo 60s, 70s stuff. I just don't think he did it well, and so he's kind of out in my book. So next up is Missoni. Missoni, if you don't know, is kind of just a very printy, like colorful, powerful brand in that way. Not powerful as a brand, but powerful in their clothing. It just really is very vibrant. And I think the Resort collection was pretty good. It kept intact with kind of the Missoni look. Was it amazing? No, but it was kind of Missoni, and it kept to its roots, which I think for majority of the Resort collections, that is a good thing, and it should be discussed. Next is MSGM. I love it. I really love MSGM. I think it's really fantastic. I think that Marjan and Micah, who are the models for MSGM's Resort 2017 lookbook, did a really fantastic job. I think the clothing is really great. It looks a bit acne, but I think it works. It's bold colors and it's bold prints, and the silhouettes are kind of the same. It's very like Adidas tracky, all of those different things. I just really loved it, and I appreciated people doing things that are again off the book. And I think a lot of the designers on my list of good people did things that were kind of out of the range of what everybody else did, or really put their own twist on what everybody did. Okay, so next is Mugler, which I loved. I thought it was really beautiful. I think the cutouts were different. I think a lot of people did boring cutouts on sleeves, but Mugler did kind of above the boob and right on the thigh, and beautiful, like different ways of cutting, like very curvy and beautiful, not just circles. And I think it was a good job. I think he did a good job. There's a lot of ruching where he did do circles. The colors were really beautiful. It was simple in the silhouettes, which is fine for me, as long as you're doing something different. And I think he did a really good job at doing something different. Oscar de la Renta. I don't think it's working. I think Peter Copping needs to go. I just don't get it. It looks like a really bad Chanel. It looks like catalog. The prints don't make sense. It's not this big thing that is what Oscar de la Renta used to be. It was big and majestic, and now it just looks like it's kind of trying to fit in between these other brands and trying to just play it safe. And that's not working, because it's obviously going to be called out for playing safe. And I just don't think that the mesh of Peter Copping and Oscar de la Renta as a brand are working, and I feel bad saying it, but it's true. Peter Pilotto Resort, really good, really, really good. I liked the way that he mixed trends with off the shoulders and like ruffles and all those things, and kind of played with it. There are lots of color, there's lots of good separates. I think that all of the different ruching throughout the skirts and the shirts really worked. And he just kept it simple. He did a really, really good job. I even like it. It was just, I think it really works. And I think it was good for him to kind of not play it safe, but again, put his own twist on the trends that are happening now. Ports 1961, I think did a really, really great job. I think it was a very not Ports and like not very safe, not very like boring. I think that they kind of are really pushing themselves to put out collections that are eye-catching, that I don't think Ports really has an identity as a brand either. It's just kind of like a sportswear brand. So I think them branching out to like do something different is working, and I think it's nice. I thought it was cute. Was it I've never seen anything like it before? No, but it was different for them, and it was different for the collections that we've been seeing. Next up is Rosie Assoulin. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I really, really love Rosie. I think that she did an amazing job with her collection. It had the Rosie Assoulin DNA. Did it mix it with the trends? Totally no. It also kind of is pushing us in different directions too. We're getting a lot of different ways of styling simple pants with big prints. We're getting ways of styling different shirts. And I think Rosie is kind of good at making things that are simple and kind of styling them in the perfect way to make them look different and make them look new. So I think Rosie did a great job with her resort collections. Next up is Thom Browne. I love Thom Browne. I think he did a really, really great job. It is kind of classic menswear mixed with all of these really beautiful colors and mixed with just a pastel thing that works. I think the different color blocking just in the outfits really works. I really do applaud the collections. Also, I think there is a good amount of women's wear that is different for Thom Browne. So I can honestly say I really do appreciate what he's doing. If you look at the collections, you'll see that. And even the resort campaign was shot differently. There are 6 girls in a photo, and it's like, great, like, good. I'm happy that, like, this is different and it's not just 1 or 2 girls. Like, he's pushing himself outside of the block. Also, there's a lot of really good accessories, like those different bags, a lot of nautical influence, umbrellas, like, and making them fashionable, which I think not a lot of people do. So I'm happy with Thom Browne. So let's talk about Valentino. If you follow me on Twitter, which you should, it's at HotLaMode, you will know I'm not happy about Valentino. Out of the 80 looks, which I think is definitely too much if you're not really dedicated to a brand, and I don't think whatever the 2 of them, Pier Paolo and Maria Grazia, are really dedicated to this brand. I just don't think it works. It's so many influences that are not coming together cohesively. Not all collections come together cohesively, obviously. But this is just like cheetah print and floral and this red. It's like, and each thing has a different section. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't make sense. It is too pulled in too many different directions, and I don't think that the 2 of them have a clear voice, and I think there needs to be change because obviously it's not working. So that's me reading Valentino the Phil. Let's talk about Versace. Loved it. I think that, I guess this is Donatella, but she must have a team behind her. I don't know who does it. But this is, I feel like, what Louis Vuitton should look like. If we're gonna get this kind of techno, retro vibe from Nicolas Ghesquière, this is what it should be. It should be this really straight, really great color blocking, really great different stripes and patterns. And we're not getting that from Nicolas Ghesquière. I don't think this is like very Versace, but I mean, it was a good collection, I think, personally. Might not like tap into the Versace DNA, but I really, really liked it. So, I mean, I can't complain. Next up is Zac Posen. I think that the Zac Posen line is really good when Zac sticks to what he does well, and that is these really big dresses. And I think if Zac put out a lookbook of 10 pieces, it would be amazing. He doesn't need to like overcompensate for all of these different things. His dresses are amazing. He is an amazing dressmaker, and I think he really should focus on that instead of trying to do, again, a lot of different things and pulling a lot of different inspirations. If you look at the maybe 6 or 7 or 8 dresses that he did, they're amazing. They're really, really beautiful. And you can even see that he's kind of pushing himself forward too as a designer, because he's not just doing his like tulle and taffeta thing. He's kind of making these sleek, gorgeous, pleated dresses, and it's like they look amazing. But I think if we're only getting, 10 or 12 dresses in a lookbook, people would be really, really amazed. I would be really, really amazed. So I think Zac needs to kind of hone it all in, bring it all together, and he'd have an amazing lookbook. Next up is the Zac Posen line, which is Zac's diffusion line. I think it was really good. I think the colors in it really, really pop. I think that the silhouettes are really good too. I think there's, again, a lot going on, but I think it's very well done. I wish some pieces were edited out, definitely. But I think the star poodle motif, it's a little bit like, it's a little bit trendy, I must say. But I don't expect that much from like a diffusion line either. But I feel like they've taken kind of the trends and made them cute. Do I think it like screams Zac Posen? No. And I wouldn't say it should, but I think also it should. So I'm kind of caught in the middle with the Zac Posen line, but I think it's really, I do think this collection is really, really great. Next up is Christian Dior. Let's be real. This was a mess. I just don't get it. The first thing I thought, oh my god, J.W. Anderson looks really, really good. And then I thought, oh my god, wow, like Celine, like who is this? And it's Dior. There needs to be a creative director. Somebody needs to step in and somebody needs to say, hey, this is shit. We need to like fucking work on this. It doesn't make sense. They're trying to do so much. They're trying to do Raf before he left. Now they're trying to do J.W. Anderson. Now they're trying to do Celine. They need somebody to pull it together and put their own DNA and mix it up with the Dior DNA, because it's just getting too much. Like, there wasn't even like a beautiful new look kind of thing throughout the whole collection either. It was just like kind of straight dresses, and it's like nobody wants to see like boring shit from you. You're a big house, like you're better than that. They need to get rid of these two, whatever their names are, they're irrelevant. I'm telling you, this whole like two designer thing in a house, I just don't think it really works that well. And finally, let's just discuss Christopher Kane. I thought it was really good. I thought it was very thought-provoking, as most London designers are. It was very about like pollination, and I think he does that a lot. He plays kind of with sexual things. I really liked it. The clothes, great, yeah, they were good, and a lot of them, they were a bit out there, but I mean, that's kind of what Christopher Kane does. So for the most part, it was really good. It was a small collection. It was 19 pieces, not too big, but you know, it does need to be honed in a little bit. It does get a bit out there, but I don't think it was terrible. Okay, so that is me done talking about all of the collections that you guys saw for Resort. So please let me know what you guys think about the collections in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite collections were if I didn't mention any. Tell me what you thought about the ones that I didn't mention. So yeah, that's it. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Please like this video if you got through the whole thing. And subscribe if you want to see more wonderful content where I talk shit about people in fashion. So yeah, thank you, and TTYL.